Michelle. It's Ken Dashoff from Q1043, and you are rocking to WICR.
In the cut, WICR. Welcome back. Benzino the Hero, co-hosted by Rob Jiggity.
Yo, what up, y'all?
Ones and twos, we're back at it. On this starting episode of In the Cut, we're gonna get charged up. Last week we got charged up about why DAPs are important. This week we're gonna jump right into our charged up segment, and we're gonna talk about Cartoon Network. Now, Cartoon Network, the old shows and the new shows. So when we were growing up, we're all born 94.
Yep.
So 94 to what was the end of the last show ended in
2009
because they got older and they went into middle school or elementary school. I'm talking about the show Ed, Edd n Eddy.
And then
But on this segment, we're going to talk about what we're going to compare both of them. First of all, the old school regime and the new school regime. That would consist of Adventure Time, Gumball. Are we going to throw in Foster's Home, or that would be old regime?
Foster's Home.
So shows like Adventure Times, Gumball.
Like everything after 09 is the new regime. Everything before 09 is the old. So I'd say Foster's Home is part of the old.
So would that get us charged up?
Yeah.
Charged up.
Here we go!
I'm charged up.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No! This is Patrick!
Jiggity, what? Talk about the old regime.
First of all, let me shout out Chris Kraft. He's in the studio with us.
Chris Kraft is literally, if you're watching on Ustream.com, or you're going to see this on YouTube when you search WICR. Chris Kraft is in the cut. Chris, can you hear us?
Yo.
What's up, man? That was wild whack to introduce you. I'm sorry. But Chris Kraft, that's our guy. It's my man since 10th grade. We out here, FSMP. But Rob, the old regime, talk about it.
Well, the old was a lot more humorous with its shows, with the antics of Ed, Edd n Eddy, Dexter's foolishness, with Foster's Home with their foolishness, and I feel like the new regime has more ongoing stories, with Adventure Time with its continuous story, Regular Show with its continuous story, Steven Universe with its continuous story, and you see all these continuing stories, while the other shows from the old regime were just focused on humor and outlandishness.
I think, when you go into, would Johnny Bravo be?
Yeah, that's old. That's old.
Part of the old regime. When talking about the old regime versus the new regime, I'm thinking of an example where they both collide. You see the same thing in the old regime and the new regime. In Johnny Bravo, you would see the rock stars unite and make one team. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where actually, when Johnny Bravo would see the guys. You know what I'm talking about or nah?
No.
Chris, you know what I'm talking about?
Word, I know what you're talking about.
Nah, you being serious? You know what I'm talking about. In Johnny Bravo. And how in the regular show where the Ducks come up and they form something like a team aspect. So, like, you see the similarities even though in the different era.
Yeah.
Chris, any opinions about the old versus new regime?
I mean, like, if you think about it, all old shows, things, like, repeat themselves, like history. It's like, just with the shows. Gotta think about it like that.
That's a good point. With even like what you said, history repeats itself. Some of the character models repeat themselves, like how every show always has that one dumb guy. Every show always has that leader that's semi-arrogant. Every show has like the same character types, but now it's in a different show.
It's in different form. You see the brains of operations. So even it's in the same era, but you would see Agent One, number one, Nigel.
Number one.
Nigel would be the Eddie, excuse me.
Yeah.
In codename Kid Next Door and Ed, Edd n Eddy. You'd see Dexter would be the same as, I'm not gonna say as Gumball. I'll give that comparison.
Dexter to
Gumball.
Except Gumball's a complete idiot.
He's a complete idiot, but
Dexter
they have
actually
the same stuff.
Yeah, and with their fumbling around and never actually getting anything right, I give them that. They have that in common, but Gumball is just an idiot. He's a fool.
What shows in the old regime would you like to see, like, if they would have played a show and put it in the new regime, what show from the old regime would you like to see?
That's a good one.
Chris, any thoughts? Talk to me.
I mean, if they rebooted Dexter, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Dexter rebooted with like, you know how in the not 70s, I'm bugging, in the 90s how they view the future differently than what it actually is. Like how they view 2015 in the 90s would be different than what the 2015 is now.
So
Like,
it'd be in a different. It's the same world, but it's totally different.
yeah,
Yeah. The only thing is the same as the year.
yeah. I feel like Dexter, with today's animators, would get the justice it deserves with the inventions he creates.
For the old regime, I would like to see a 2015 Camp Lazlo.
Oh.
I would like to see how different the camp would be. Would it be more child? Because regular shows not meant. When we're watching cartoons, Ed and Eddie were 6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
But now when you go onto Cartoon Network, you see regular show. Even though you're not gonna get the joke at 6, 7, 8. I wouldn't understand like half the stuff Mordecai says under his breath and stuff like that, or what Rigby does. But I would like to see how the writing of Camp Lazlo would be, and the premise of the show.
for a more adult audience or the
For-
same audience.
An adult-based audience.
Would it be like a continuation or like?
No, like
Rebooted,
they start the show like
rebooted.
no, like Camp Lazlo didn't exist until 2015.
So if they rebooted the show,
Yeah, there would be a reboot.
That's what you mean by reboot.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right, then
man.
I'm going with that, Chris. What show in the new regime would you like to see in the old regime?
That's a good one. I mean, regular show is a good example because they have like old-fashioned things like they bring up. Like they bring up like old songs, all that stuff. They have like good ideas. I don't know. It's
But would regular shows stick out?
I feel like it
The
would
old
be
regime.
similar to Ed and Eddie with the 90s mentality with their antics. I feel like it'd be Ed and Eddie except there's no smart guy. Like out of them two, it'd be
yeah.
Because you're saying that even though it's the same location pretty much on the regular show, you know where they are, and Ed and Eddie, they don't leave the cul-de-sac. But
Yeah.
like the regular show, they go into town and stuff like that. So they're always not scheming for something, but there's always something new going on in the town.
the thing. I
the new
think
going
that
on in
would
the cul-de-sac.
differentiate it between Ed and Eddie would be like the more adult themes that you see. Like you said, how Rigby says stuff under his breath, and Mordecai is always talking.
Would there be a muscle man in Ed and
Yep.
Eddie?
There,
Like there would be like some like, you know, instead of my mom, that's what she said. You know, like something of that witty nature.
yeah, I
That'd
feel
be
like
repeated.
regular show would do well in that time period. I feel like it's the only show now that would do well in that late 90s time period.
I think Clarence would flop in the 90s. Clarence would
'cause
be like,
it's-
"What's going on?" Because because I'm digging the new regime. That's what we should get into. Even though we grew up on the Ed and Eddie, we grew up on the classics of
Yeah.
Cartoon Network. I bangs with the new regime. I'm gonna give my top 3 shows, not in particular order. I don't even know if I have 3. I could put Gumball in there. So Gumball would be my 3rd. Ooh, because it's new, because the season's really not developing. In Clarence number 2, regular show 1.
I'd say for me, Adventure Time, because of the creative artwork and the story and how each episode seems to be unrelated to the next episode while at the same time being related to the next episode, and I like how it flows into one like picture.
It's like a season now. It's not okay. Well, they're gonna do something very random in the
Yeah.
next episode. No,
Like-
they stick into the script.
Yeah, it's
Like
just
I
the plot.
appreciate how like the 90s shows would do that randomness, but I like the how Adventure Time would be each episode would be its own self-contained adventure in the whole grand scheme of things.
Correct.
Number 2, I'd say regular show at number 2. Because
it's jokes. It's
It's
pure
it's
jokes.
it's hilarious. It has some kind of story within it. Like stuff makes sense. Like you won't see a character that's dead in one episode coming back into another episode. Like you see, if a villain gets locked somewhere, they're not gonna just come up out of nowhere. They'd be locked up still. Like I like that continuity in regular show also.
Continuation.
And
You
I
put
put-
in Gumball?
I put Steven Universe over Gumball.
Now, Steven Universe is a show that could be put into the 90s, I think. It has to be animated different. If you put the animation different. If they're not drawn like that.
Well, yeah, Steven Universe. That's like along the same lines of Adventure Time. Like it keeps everything linear and like continuation.
I'd like to see Steven Universe in the 90s. Chris, is your top 3 similar to ours?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Steven Universe. I don't know. That'd be like probably a third.
But it would
Adventure
be, but it's
Time,
perfect.
something,
Is it?
yeah.
Is that show perfect for the new regime?
I mean, it would work in the 90s, but it would be complicated the way they would do it.
Yeah.
Because the 90s was basically like straight jokes, like
And it's simplified. It was very simplified the way they would do stuff. All right, Dexter's smart. He has an annoying sister. They're always trying to make an invention.
Oblivious parents.
Something happens.
Yeah, Dexter, knowing sister, oblivious parents. That's every episode, basically. And then it's like Ed and Eddie. One's dumb, one's smart, and one's arrogant. It's
Yo.
like the same.
The lack of parents in the 90s
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
show. I think Dexter is where you would see the parents most.
but they're oblivious. Like,
I like the dad. The dad was funny.
and then yeah, you're right. Like '90s had no parents.
No parents. Let's go. Powerpuff Girl. The professor.
Professor.
But okay, but he created them.
That's one. That's one. Okay.
That's one. Ed,
Dexter.
Ed and Eddie.
Nobody.
Bro, we barely saw Eddie's brother.
Yeah, his brother.
We barely saw Eddie's
We
brother.
saw.
in all this.
You had to pause the episode at the right time just to catch his brother.
Yeah.
No, they had an
Like a
episode
movie.
before they went to middle school. They had an adventure to find.
To find his brother.
Yeah,
And,
it was a,
and
it was a
and
bum
they
in the
just-
trailer park.
Yeah,
they found him, like-
movie.
Oh yeah, it was a movie. It was a movie.
They had a
So,
quick glimpse of his face. Like you had to pause it at the right time to see his face.
What shows without Camp Laszlo? No parents.
No parents.
Well, I mean, they were off at summer camps.
Yeah,
so-
summer camp.
Yeah,
So
true.
that makes sense.
I was gonna say Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but there was a parent aspect in there, and the grandmother and the
Yeah.
rabbit. Forgot the rabbit's name.
But-
But the lack of parents in the 90s is relevant, excuse me, because in this year you see Steven's dad in Steven Universe. You're seeing Clarence's mother in every episode, even the boyfriend. So there's some sort of Gumball. The mom and dad's always in there.
Yeah. Rigby's parents. You seen Rigby and Mordecai's parents occasionally.
Yeah,
you
they had,
saw-
siblings.
So the girlfriend's parents,
Yeah.
The only parents.
Margaret's parents.
Like you even see Finn's dad occasionally in Adventure Time.
So that's interesting of writing, because I'm taking the children's literature class, and that's something we talk about, how parents are in stories and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
since Cartoon Network is a children's, the premise is to be a show for the children to watch. We watch them as children, and we're watching them as adults. So they did the good job though of keeping viewers.
Yeah.
Because I could be like, nah, I'm not gonna watch this. I'm gonna go on HBO. I'm gonna watch this, but we still going back to Cartoon Network, even though we can watch HBO now because we're of age.
Yeah.
But we can, it's on Cartoon Network, and that's why they had, not Boomerang. Yeah, that's why they have Boomerang too, so we can watch the classics. So it's a topic of a date, to debate. Excuse me, I said of date. Well, it is true because we're talking about the new
Yeah.
team. So it's a topic of debate, a topic that got us charged up. WICR in the cut. Rob Jiggity, Chris Kraft, our special guest, Benzino the hero. We shall return.
Bye.